This is the DTV Digest, the podcast that brings you news and reviews of films which didn't make it to the cinema. And now, here's your host, Mike Parkin.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the DTV Digest. I'm your host, Mike Parkin, and joining me for this episode is Stephen Lockridge.
Hello.
Richard's off doing a movie marathon apparently today, so he couldn't join us. This week we've got a whole bunch of films to get on with. We're going to kick off with the new version of Red Sonja. Then we have The Last Ritual from Nepal. Then we have an Australian prison movie called Inside and a French sci-fi movie called Meanwhile on Earth. After that, it's Lou Ferrigno in The Hermit, and then we're going to wind up with Stalkers. Our short shot this week is the new Friday the 13th, Jason Voorhees short film called Sweet Revenge, and then we're going to round off with our DTV throwback, Body Count from 1986. So, without further ado, let's crack on. Our first film then is Red Sonja. Now, before I give the blurb, I should point out that all of the intros are coming direct from IMDb today because time pressures have meant I haven't had a chance to write anything. So this is a bit off. Because all it says on IMDb is, it's an adaptation of the comic book Red Sonja, a vengeful warrior known as She-Devil with a Sword. Well, we know that's bollocks for a start, because she makes a big point of the fact that she's not very good with a sword. She prefers daggers. But there we go. What the hell? Whoever wrote this did, and it's not a comic book as such. It's also a adaptation from the Robert E. Howard stories. It's set in the time of Conan the Barbarian, etc., etc. This version is directed by MJ Bassett, who also did another Robert E. Howard adaptation, Solomon Kane, about 10 years ago now. Also heavily involved in the TV show Strike Back, which is one of my absolute favorites. Also the remake of Wrong Turn, which we quite liked, I seem to remember. So got a very good pedigree. This one I did like a lot. It took a while to get going, but once she's in the arena, I was well on board with this. I like Matilda Lutz. She was in the film Revenge, which was a very bloody film as well. And we also have a few familiar faces popping up. We've got Rona Mitra. We've got Philip Winchester, who obviously was from Strike Back as well. And also, somewhere hidden in there is Katrina Durden, who should be a much bigger actress than she is, but she's in there somewhere. Didn't quite spot her, unfortunately. But yeah, I enjoyed this tale. They do sort of twist it a bit. This is more a case of, she's one with nature and all this sort of stuff going on, more of a Tarzan character, really. But she ends up sort of tracking down these poachers who end up going into the city, which is run by this guy who, I was kind of glad they didn't go down the Donald Trump route with this guy, which they could which I was kind of expecting, because when you see the city and there's those sort of gold bits, I'm thinking, are they sort of trying to make a sort of like Las Vegas kind of thing going on, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, they come up with a sort of relatively interesting bad guys, some good sort of battle scenes and things. I enjoyed it. What about you?
Yeah, I did, to be fair. I was kind of looking forward to it. I know the original gets slagged off, but I've not seen it for about 20, 30 years. But I, as a kid, I did enjoy it, Yeah. There's a couple of bits where, budget restrictions are quite obvious. Like the, what's the word? The Cyclops. Where it starts beating through the wall and then it's just vanished. It's not. It's like they didn't have enough to finish the shot off, and stuff like that. But yeah, I thought it was fun. I've seen a couple of reviews that have really, really slagged it, and then like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I
It's
was on the same. If you look on the IMDb, it's all getting like ones and twos and all this sort of stuff. It's like
Mm.
no, but at the same time, I've heard other people review it quite highly, saying it's the best fantasy film of the year so far. It's something which isn't Marvel or DC. So
yeah,
yeah, I can see
a little
that.
bit different, but like I like Robert Sheehan. I do like him anyway.
Mm,
I think but he always kind of plays the same part, but in this he's a bit more reserved. He's not
mm.
too over the top of it and stuff like that. I enjoyed that. Even Trevor Reeves showing up as well, which I was quite surprised at
It
as
has got a
well.
very solid cast. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Robert Sheen, as you say. I mean, as I said, they could easily have made him a sort of a Donald Trump
Mm.
kind of thing, but he's this guy who they go through his whole backstory and everything, but he's got half a book that he's been using to sort of build his power base and things, and he's interpreted it a certain way to
Mm.
make it seem like he's the center of some big prophecy, and then when he gets the second half of the book, it sort of like crushes him,
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
when he realizes what it is. But yeah, it was good to sort of see that sort of side of it, really.
But also, like they trying to make an army
Hmm.
with the I don't know what they're called, the things that stick to their head and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
That bit I thought was quite interesting. It wasn't just all about mystical magic and stuff. There was a bit of like science against the magic type thing in there as well, and and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was definitely well done. Like I said, a couple of bits where you could tell the budget was not there, but
Yeah.
apart from that, very small quibbles.
Oh yeah, overall, definitely. I like the whole the whole gladiator section. I thought was
Mm,
really good. The whole behind, because you get that sort of behind the scenes thing,
yeah.
which I thought was really good. And there's that scene where she goes up to the quartermaster to get some armor and stuff,
Oh yeah.
and gives her the chainmail bikini. That was quite funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, number one, Tony Ray. I've not seen him since Afterlife. I think the last thing I saw him in.
Hmm.
But yeah, he's just perfect for that role. I thought he was great in it.
It is. Yeah. It's very solid. I really liked it. I hope they do get to make the sequel. Basically, we just hinted at the end.
Mm,
Um, And so even a hint of Conan at the end. I think she mentioned something about, oh, here there's some Sumerian king that's supposed to be worth checking out or something.
yeah,
Which would be cool.
yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was very, very solid indeed, and it is something I hope to pick up. When it gets released on, if it gets released on physical media at least, and doesn't end up somewhere silly. But on that note, how are you going to score it?
I'll give it a 7.
Yeah, it's a very solid 7. Absolutely. Definitely worth checking out. 2 7s for Red Sonja. Go check it out. Our next film is The Last Ritual. A hunt for a missing filmmaker led by an alcoholic police officer leads into shocking, mysterious, ancient traditions of the Himalayas. Okay, so this is quite an interesting film. It's a police procedural at heart.
Mm.
It's about a female detective, supposedly the youngest detective, youngest woman made detective, I should say. But there's an event in her past. She made a cock up, and she was vilified for it. And basically, she's now working at the local police academy as a result. But on top of that, when she was a lot younger, she was basically drugged and raped, and somebody filmed it and put it on the internet. So there's that as well, that she's had to sort of endure, throughout her career. But she manages to convince her boss that she's the right person for this particular case, where a filmmaker has gone missing. Reported by his wife, has reported through the embassy as well, which is why it's all kicked off. So, and she's a bit sort of dubious about the situation because everything's happened so fast. Usually it's like 24 hours after someone goes missing, they're going to get reported. People start moving, but she starts digging into it and discovers there's something else going on. On top of that, we have the son of the filmmaker who is taking a very large blue bag with him to the Himalayas. And God knows what's in it, basically. So you got these two sort of storylines going on, and it is very good. It's a bit long; it's just over 2 hours long. The one of the interesting things is there's a particular detective who's, when we first meet him, he's a lazy piece of shit. He's a misogynist, lazy piece of shit, basically. And he just wants to keep his feet on the desk and everything. But as the film goes on, he develops a decent rapport with the sort of younger detective, and we find out his past as well, where he's like, at one point he was as altruistic as she was, made a mistake of reporting one of his superior officers for bribery or something, and then ended up almost losing his job as a result. It's that sort of situation. Some nice surprises as it goes. But this is a nice, solid procedural from Nepal overall, and I'll give that a 7 out of 10. So go check it out. Our next film is Inside. Transferred from juvenile to adult prison, Mel is taken under the wing of both Shepard, Australia's most despised criminal, and Warren, a soon-to-be paroled inmate. The paternal triangle that forms between them becomes their undoing. Now, does that relate in any way to the film that you watched, Steve?
To be fair, yeah, it's not too bad, that one.
Oh, good.
It's like you say, he gets transferred from juvie to actual, like a male prison. And he's got a little keyboard with him that he plays, that's like his therapeutic thing. And he gets asked to come to this. It's like a church group thing that's run by the guy who plays Cosmo Jarvis. And kind of falls under his wing. He's just playing. That's all he's doing. He's playing and playing. And then he gets transferred into a cell with Guy Pearce, his character. And it kind of goes from there, battle for the... It's kind of like a battle for the soul type thing.
Right, yeah.
It's all about macho men and, the male experience, ego and stuff like that. But the thing is, Cosmo Jarvis is absolutely phenomenal in this. It's... don't recognize him. He's complete. I don't know how he does it. He looks completely different everything he's in. And he gets, these like sermons, monologues all the way through, and they're just phenomenal. But it's like they're trying... Guy Pearce's character's coming bad with the bookies.
Right.
And they're trying to get him off his back, he's got to kill someone. And so he's trying to get the young lad in with it and stuff like that. And it just goes from there. I mean, it's a bit too long. The middle drags quite a bit. But performances are really great, especially Cosmo Jarvis. I mean, he won't, but if there was any in the world, he would be up for nominations. I just think he's so good in this. Really is. The ending is quite powerful in a way as well. I mean, there's like one section where Guy Pearce gets released for the day to visit his son, who he's not seen for years, and it's fucking heartbreaking. It really is. It's awful. It's so bad. But yeah, I mean, it's decent enough. I mean, apparently it was the writer and director who had family in prison as well, so that's he's drawn on his own experiences and stuff like that. Yeah, but overall, it's really good. Like I say, it just drags a bit in the middle. It could have done. It just repeats itself a bit in the middle. You know what I mean? It could have done being a little tiny bit shorter.
Yeah.
It's an
Does
hour
it
and
go?
3/4, but
Yeah. Does it go into what Mel did to get into juvie in the first place? I mean, is that...
yeah, slightly, not massively. It kind of hinted at, you know.
Right.
But yeah,
Doesn't really
I
sort of
enjoyed it.
impact on the story. It's more about...
No, it's more
Yeah.
about them,
Mm-hmm.
them three on the inside. If you know, obviously, yeah.
Cool.
But yeah,
Interesting.
I think I would give it a 7 again.
Okay. A 7 out of 10 for Inside. If you like your prison movies, go check it out. Our next film is Meanwhile on Earth. A young woman is contacted by an unknown life form claiming to be able to bring back her older brother who disappeared during a space mission safely back to Earth. Do you remember, I think it was last year, or maybe even the year before, Steve, we reviewed a film, I can't remember if it was French or Spanish, and it was a sci-fi movie about this kid who was training to be an astronaut, but then he got infected by like an alien fungus during a meteor shower. The meteor crashed into this lake that he was swimming in, and he ended up getting infected. And it was like it was this really mundane, sort of horrific version of it, rather than sort of being a pulpy sort of genre movie. And that's kind of what we got here. You know, it's got some of the trappings of sci-fi, but really it's not about the sci-fi as such. Yeah, so we got this young woman whose brother somehow mysteriously got lost on a space mission. It's not really explained what happened to him. And it's about a year or so after it happened. And one day she starts hearing her brother's voice. And she finds this weird seed that she puts in her ear and allows her to hear the voices of the aliens which had supposedly rescued him. And they start conversing with her about what to do and how they can help. Bring him back, basically. And it's about this sort of, they send her on this sort of journey, and there's a few sort of weird things that happen on the journey, like, they say, you got to follow this path exactly. But, she's walking through woods and like there's a tree in front of her, so she goes around the tree and they go, no, you got to go in a straight line. So then she has to go find someone who can cut down the tree for her so she can continue in a straight line. It's that sort of weird shit. It's more about mood and atmosphere than it is about anything else. These aliens, there's only 5 of them, but they do end up sort of possessing the bodies of certain people. And she's working in an old people's home, so she brings a bunch of them on this walk, and they all sort of get disappeared by the aliens and that sort of thing. But it sort of ends in a sort of very inconclusive way.
Yeah.
It's one of those you think, well, okay, so what actually happened? It's very weird.
It does. I'll be honest. It does sound a little bit pretentious.
Indeed, that's exactly where it comes from, which I think is quite fair for a lot of French sci-fi, basically. But there you go. Yeah, it's enjoyable enough. I didn't mind it overall. What it has. It's got no special effects or anything, but it's got a couple of animated sequences because the main lady, Elsa, is an aspiring artist, and she was meant to go off to like art college, but instead, she's meandering around because of her brother's disappearance. She's working in this old people's home, which is where her mum works as well, as it turns out. But yeah, we do get a few animated sequences. Which I think I meant to suggest that, eventually she does move on.
Yeah.
And get on with their life. So there is that side to it. And the music was good. And the audio is very good because the way they do the voices, it's almost like you're listening to it through lossless sound.
Right.
And it comes across really, really clear. So it's quite nice. Those bits, quite enjoyed it. So yeah, I think overall, because I think if you're not in the right frame of mind for it, it's going to drag. So
Yeah.
on that note, I'm giving this a 6 out of 10. So if you like your French sci-fi, you like a bit of pretentiousness, bit of art house, go check it out. Our next film is The Hermit. Dragged on a vacation to the woods, teenagers Lisa and Eric fight for their lives against an unstoppable cannibal pig farmer. Okay, I was a bit unsure about this one to begin with. It does start with a young woman lost in the woods, a typical sort of YouTube, TikTok sort of like influencer kind of woman. She stumbles upon this farm where Hugo, the cannibal hermit, lives, and she meets a grisly end straight away. But then it cuts to a reporter who is going to be interviewing one of the survivors of a particular massacre at the thing. So we have this sort of framing device set up where this woman, this girl, Lisa, is recalling the events of what happened, basically. Which is fine, but obviously we know that Lisa's going to survive because there she is. But it's really, really well done overall. This is actually really, really good. That framing device actually comes into its own later on in the film. We learn a few things which changes the perspective of what we've been told. Lou Ferrigno, he doesn't have to do a lot apart from look menacing. He doesn't have many lines. He's quite soft.
Yeah.
He's actually quite softly spoken at times, but he is killing people to eat them. In fact, he's killing people, turning them into beef jerky, and then selling it at the roadside
Right.
service station. You know how every sort of like backwards horror movie, any horror movie set in the woods, there's always this sort of like really dodgy looking service station. That's basically where the film goes. But yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed this one. It was much better than I was expecting. It's got a good solid cast. The framing device worked, and it's got a really good, very twisty sort of twists at the end, quite twisted. The way things develop. If you like a good Friday the 13th style, murder in the woods scenario, this is a good one, and definitely worth sort of checking out. And on that note, I'm giving this one a solid 7. So a lot of good movies this week. So another 7 for The Hermit. Go check it out. Our next review is Stalkers. When Kate moves into a new house with her estranged teenage daughter she gave up for adoption, an ominous presence lurks and they can't shake the feeling they are being watched. Secrets unravel and terror escalates, culminating in a bloody showdown. You know what? I'm going to throw this straight over to you. I'm interested to hear what you think of this one.
Right, okay. This did not know what it wanted to be. To me, you've got it's tonally all over the place. You kick off with a slasher style murder. Okay.
Yep.
Then you jump to the daughter of the murdered couple being reunited with a biological mother, who's now a porn star in LA.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Coming back to her hometown, bonding, trying to get their lives back together, go over with the murder. Bumps into an old girlfriend who says, yeah, just move into my house, it's fine. Not a problem. And then it goes from there. But it's like a Hallmark movie with a bit of porn thrown in, and now and again a slasher scene thrown in. And I just thought it was completely tonally uneven, and it was all over the place.
See, I knew we'd disagree on this one.
Go on, go on.
I liked it. I actually like this a lot. What the main thing I like about it is that relationship between Kate and her daughter, and the fact that Kate's background, it, it makes a big thing of the fact that yes, she was an adult porn star, without sort of showing us that she's an adult porn star. If you see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But she's got that background, and it has affected the way she interacts and how she deals with people and that sort of thing. She doesn't take shit basically. You got that fucking kid. I was kind of glad when he finally got killed.
Oh yeah.
All that sort of stuff. Because they find out that she's a porn star and all this sort of. But I did like that element of her and her daughter trying to bond a little bit, and I did like that. I also like the fact that her daughter didn't sort of just go, "Ew, you do porn," kind of thing when she found out. She's sort of more like, "Oh, bloody hell, how many of these things did you do?"
Yeah,
it was quite funny. I agree. Yeah, tonally it is a bit all over. It could almost have gotten away with not having the slasher element.
exactly. That's what I mean. It doesn't.
Yeah. But I did like this. I mean, I did like that element of it because it reminded me of Scream. Basically, that's kind of what this is modeled itself on is the Scream movies to a certain degree. I did like who the baddie ended up being and her, and what she had done and things like that. I didn't like what she'd done, but I like the way they.
No, I know what you mean.
Wrote,
I know what you mean.
The way it comes across in the film. So I was surprised that I liked it as much as I did. I thought it was a lot going on. There's that bit as well, which I thought was quite amusing, is when they go, at first they're staying in a motel, and there's that very sleazy motel manager, and they rock up, and he's like coming out of their room, and they're like, what the fuck are you doing in our room? He's like, I was changing the towels, and they go in, and they're like, he hasn't changed the towels.
No.
But I think one of the reasons I liked it as well is, have you seen The Monkey yet?
No, not yet.
Because a lot of that is about, parent and child bonding as well, in the midst of a lot of horror stuff going on. There's two really good examples of, that sort of dynamic, which I really did like. So I liked it. You not as much from the sounds of it. So what are you going to
score? I'll give this one a 5.
All right. Well, I'm going back to 7s on this one. So a 5 and a 7 for Stalkers. I liked it. He didn't so much. There you have it. Go check it out. Our short shot this week is Sweet Revenge. A group of teenagers arrive at Crystal Lake Camp, but one thing they don't know about this place is they are... okay, I'm leaving this in. This was written really shit. Okay. I'm going to read this verbatim. A group of teenagers arrives in Crystal Lake Camp, but one thing they don't know about this place is they were being stalked and mysteriously killed by a mysterious serial killer who's out there for revenge. No, he fucking isn't. Okay. That's not what the revenge bit is. Bloody hell. Anyway, this is partly right. Bunch of teenagers heading to Crystal Lake. I believe one of them's engaged, or there's a couple of them are engaged.
Yeah.
On the way. It's only a 15 minutes short. They try to cram in a lot into 15 minutes. I'm just going to read something. Our friend Rich sort of posted a few notes for me, which I'm just going to read when I get back to it. Okay, so following the resolution of a long-running legal dispute over rights, Jason Voorhees has officially returned to screens 16 years after the Platinum Dooms film that attempted to reboot the series. by combining aspects of the first three films in the series. I liked that film, to be honest. I thought that was actually pretty decent. They had one of the guys from Supernatural in it. I can't remember the name of the guy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's not Jensen Ackles, it's the other
no,
one.
it's the other one. Yeah, the one with the longer hair. Yeah. This first production under the Jason Universe banner has been directed by Mike P. Nelson, who I like because he did The Domestics and Wrong Turn, something you mentioned earlier. And it's only 15 minutes long. It tries to condense a feature narrative, and as a result, feels very rushed, both in terms of the storytelling and the production. It is on a par with, but not quite up to, the best fan films made in the last 10 years. This is Richard's opinion, such as Never Hike Alone and Here Comes the Night trilogies, the two Vengeance movies, etc., etc. He lists quite a few. The film was sponsored by Angry Orchard Hard Cider, but is not an advertising film. But this collaboration brought to mind a promotional short film, Forgotten Lake, made by the Canadian Lake of the Woods Brewing Company to promote one of their ales. So we can put a link to that in the footnotes. I really like this. I must admit, I agree. It is rushed. It needs to flesh out the characters to sort of really hit home. But my God, did they go for it with the gore?
They did, definitely. Yeah.
They really went for it. We do have a particular heroine who we see being yanked out of her canoe, but somehow makes it to shore. I was kind of in two minds as to what her fate actually was at that point.
Yeah.
Because the way she looks when she comes out, she looks quite ghoulish.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we get a lot of kills in this in a very short period of time. Well, we don't actually get the kills. We see the aftermath of what Jason's been up to. But then we do get a good fight in the in one of the cabins.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really liked it. I think the production values were very good for this. The way it's lit and everything. You don't see much of Jason, but when you do see him, I think he looks very menacing. So yeah, I'm on board, and I hope this does act as a good springboard for bringing back Jason to the big screen. What did you make of it, Steve?
Yeah, it was all right. I was wondering how it was. I knew it was like supposedly an official shot. I was wondering how it tied in and that, because I know obviously, with the court case, the rights issue and stuff has been going on for ages. I don't think it's going to bring him back to the mainstream with it, with it being a shot. I mean, I think because they're shooting a series at the minute, aren't they?
Right.
About Pamela Voorhees.
That's right. Yeah. I think
they're calling it. I think it's called Camp Crystal Lake, but I'm not 100% sure on that. With Linda Cardinelli, which I'll be looking forward to. But yeah, I mean, he does try and cram it all in 15 minutes, and it is rushed, but I think it's done well. Production wise, and yeah, there's definitely the money there, and the bit. Well, the really gory death was like, Jesus Christ, that was a bit much.
With the outboard motor,
yeah. I was like, shit. But yeah,
it did remind that bit with the outboard motor. It did remind me of there's a film out there called In a Violent Nature, is it?
Yeah,
In a Violent Nature, which has got some very gory moments in it, and that's sort of the level that the fiance gets it basically.
Right.
That was pretty gory, but yeah, this is very solid. I mean, I'll watch anything that sort of Michael P. Nelson puts out anyway, because I know it's going to be of a high standard. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. We don't score the shorts, but we do recommend you check them out. I know a lot of people have already checked this out on Blue Sky, sort of the horror communities. But please check out the link below. Go check it out. Our DTV throwback this week is Body Count. Thanks, IMDb. A group of teens are stalked and killed by a shaman at a cursed camping site. Well,
Yeah.
Kinda, I guess. Um, are you familiar with the works of Ruggero Deodato?
Uh, Looking at it, no.
Well, he's most famous for Cannibal Holocaust,
Oh, right.
um,
Yeah. Okay.
which I'm sure you've heard of.
Yeah.
He's done a few others. There's one called The Washing Machine, which I used to
Yeah.
own. I used to own it on a Spanish VHS tape, which was in Spanish. So trying to work out what the hell was going on, but basically about a guy who finds a dismembered corpse in his own washing machine. A very, very weird film. Cut and Run is probably one of my favorites of his. House on the Edge of the Park, which is pretty nasty. House on the Edge of the Park also stars David Hess, most famous for Last House on the Left. He plays the owner of the camping site in this one.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's David Hess. There's a couple of other names in there, which are, John Steiner and Ivan Rasimov were in the cast, but I didn't spot them. But also we got Charles Napier as the sheriff,
Yep.
who basically spends the whole movie just looking through his binoculars. He doesn't really do much at all.
No.
Um, I I don't know what you made of this one. It's a slasher movie. It's in this sort of classical style of a slasher movie. The issue really is there are too many bloody characters running around. It's difficult to work out at any one point who's still left alive.
Yeah.
And where anyone actually is. Nobody seems to be that bothered when people wander off and never come back.
Mm-hmm.
The ending is interesting in that it's a very sort of giallo style reveal as to what the motive is. And we also get this sort of like weird red herring where there's a couple of other murders happen,
Yeah.
which aren't actually connected to the main murders, but they happen, because of certain things, circumstances, which is all makes it quite interesting. But for the most part, this is just a bunch of people just screaming at each other when things happen. I found it a bit of a chore to watch. How about yourself?
Yeah. To be fair, it was a bit. I mean, it's just a Friday the 13th rip-off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Couple of years later, and they'll just bag it together on the cheap and take it from there. Now, a couple of things I did notice. The motorbike.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I think that is informed Cabin in the Woods in a
Yeah.
way.
Mm-hmm.
It just really reminded me of what they did with it in that. And yeah, it's just your typical cheap 80s slasher. There's nothing really makes it stand out or jump out or anything. Because again, it's not exactly particularly gory.
The editing was pretty atrocious, actually.
Yeah.
Anytime there was a bit of gore, it would cut really quick. Or anytime, there's a couple of scenes where people are having sex, and the shot lasts for like a split second, and then it cuts away.
Yeah.
It's just very, very weird. Yeah, very annoying.
You've also got the Kevin Bacon death, which is exactly the same. It's just a woman.
Yeah.
And kid being traumatized by his mum having an affair. Every trope you can think of, he just rips it off.
Well, I was just thinking, it is basically it's slasher movie bingo.
Yeah.
It's like we've got Hitchhiker. We got out of the way location. Deserted location. Some murders that happened like 15 years ago that have never been explained. All this sort of stuff, sort of building. Yeah, you could easily play. Yeah, what's it? Yeah, slasher bingo, basically.
Yeah,
quite cool.
But it's not really done particularly well. I mean, also as well, it seems like the first 45 minutes is all ADR'd.
Yeah.
I thought it was Italian and dubbed at first. but
Yeah.
it's not. It's
No.
they
Well,
are
you got
speaking.
you got like Mimsy Farmer in there, and Bruce Pennell.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's an English speaking cast, but yeah, very strange. But yeah, no, it's an odd one. It's not the sort of, well, I say that I was going to say it's not the sort of thing you'd expect Deodato to do, but he did another one with Michael York, which I forgot the name of now. Phantom of the something it's called, where he plays someone who needs to kill people in order to stay young.
right.
Um, but yeah. But yeah, it's a lesser Deodato, that's for sure. It's not up there
Mm,
with some of his more well-known films, I think. But an interesting experiment, but it's too long as well for what it is.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it did make me laugh at the end when Charles Napier, the sheriff, he basically shoots the baddie, and
mm,
they do the Scooby Doo reveal of pulling his mask off,
yeah,
and he just sort of looks at it and goes,
yep,
"Yep, I knew it was him."
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And then, the other bit I want to mention as well. There's one particular character who's he's not even chubby, but they keep calling him the fat one.
is it Sid?
Yeah, Sid, that's it.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then there's a whole thing where they sort of try to trick him into thinking there's an orgy going on in one of the shallows,
Mm,
and to sort of prove it, one of the girls sort of strips off, goes topless, and he makes this sound and goes, "Ugh," like which I thought it is the best sound I've ever heard as far as like someone trying to do a gulp kind of thing, but like that before. And it sort of turns, they turn it into a joke, but it was quite funny. But yeah, I thought that was a good little sound effect.
yeah,
But yeah, okay. So if you like slashers and you've seen things like Cannibal Holocaust, and you're wondering what he's going, what can Deodato do with the format? Not a lot, as it turns out. This is just
mm,
it's very formulaic of its time. And in 1986, this came out, so you could argue that the slasher genre was well in its prime by then, probably coming to an end. But yeah. We don't score the throwbacks, but we do recommend you check them out. You can find this on Amazon Prime in all its pan and scan glory. So go check it out. Right, that is us for this week. Just me and Steve reviewing the films. Next week, Rich will be back, and it will be our Fright Fest episode. We've got loads of films which are premiering at Fright Fest. Looking forward to checking those out. Don't forget to check us out also on Facebook and X and Blue Sky at the DTV Digest, where we pal around and talk about new films coming out. So there you have it. Thank you for listening. Tune in next time.
Thank you for listening to the DTV Digest. Let us know your thoughts in the comments and tune in again next time.